Welcome back to another episode of the Get Sculpted podcast. I'm Coach Jordanna and here with coaches Marilynn and Tijana, and we have a fun little episode for you today. And I want you to be honest for a second. How many of you listening have done one of the following? Walk the bedroom or living room in circles to hit your step goals. Run around a little bit to get your heart rate up to hit your close the rings on your exercise goals, or stood a little extra longer to get that perfect stand day. If you're laughing right now, you're probably going to love today's episode because we are talking about trackers and are they helping or harming? Things like Oura rings, Apple watches, Whoop bands, recovery scores, readiness metrics. We have more data than ever before. But here's the question, is it helping us or is it stressing us out even more? And today we're going to dive deep on wearables and are they making women healthier or are they making them more obsessed? We're also going to give you a little bit of background around how we support our clients to use wearables in a more informed manner, how we help them use it for coaching purposes. And there's some growing research around how wearables are helping in some cases, but harming in others. And it's pretty interesting. And I want to be upfront when I say this. If you're like a type A, ambitious woman, goal-oriented, this episode might actually hit you the hardest because I include myself here, we thrive off of data. We have a little bit of competitive spirit in us, and feeling like we're beating the minimum standard is something that we strive to do at all times. So I got a question for you girls. I know the answer, but you listening, you don't know the answer necessarily. So I'm asking the question. Do you guys have a wearable? What is it? And do you have a favorite insight from it?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah,
I have an Oura
I know what you were
ring.
going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have my Oura ring. It's funny, I never got into the Apple Watch craze, mostly because I just don't like watch it. Like, I don't like things on my wrist. So when the Oura ring came out, I was like, this is amazing. I love rings. So I have my Oura ring. I love it. I think my favorite insight, honestly, is the sleep data because I love how it breaks it down. Like, you can see your deep sleep, your REM sleep, and all of that. So it's cool just to see the breakdown and what's actually happening when you're getting those Z's at night. What about you?
How many hours of stress does yours say you have a day? I'm curious.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. No. Listen,
I wonder if mine is normal because it's.
I stopped looking at that because it was so high. Yes, totally. That like little thing, that like little red dot thing where it's like, you are stressed. You've spent. No, I can't look at that anymore. So the answer is typically very high.
Mine's like 5 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
I haven't checked mine in a long time, but I would say mine was at least that much.
Someone posted that theirs was like 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, I thought everybody's was like 5 hours. But we're going to talk about this too. But stress, it doesn't just mean like you're actually stressed. It means you're engaged. Like, I bet you anything that after I look at this podcast session, I'm not stressed. I'm happy, but my heart rate is elevated because I'm passionately talking.
Okay, so I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into this more, but that's why like the number itself doesn't mean everything. But yes, I have an Oura ring. I had an Apple Watch. I'm a big fan.
Love it. And I have an Apple Watch. I did get into the watch craze because I wore a watch all the time for work and stuff like that. And so this felt very natural to progress into the watch. And I was totally one of those people that was like, must close my rings, must do it. It was like a sense of pride to be like, I got the monthly goal or I closed all the rings. Right. And you see that streak going. I have since reassessed that relationship, but it's definitely had been a challenge for me at one point in time. Knowing that we all have a personal relationship with our wearables, T, I want you to walk us through like the fine line that we do walk when data can drive some of our decisions into an unhealthy place.
Yes. And I like that you said we're talking to the type A girlies because I can absolutely relate. And let me say something off the bat. I think the data is so helpful and we're not saying that. And if you're getting that impression, like we're not going that way. We want data, but we don't want to let it like rule what you do. And here's how I see it, right? Like the wearables, the watches, the Oura rings, even tracking your macros and things like that, they are valuable tools to give you a framework, but you still need to set up your lifestyle in a way to allow for that. So they're more like a pulse check of like, where am I at? Like if I'm not walking a lot of steps, my lifestyle's a problem. Like why not?
Yeah.
So when you're pacing around your living room to get your steps in or feeling like so resentful because you're like, oh my God, I have like 3,000 steps to get in an hour or whatever, and I haven't done anything all day long, then that is just a greater symptom of you not setting up your day the right way to allow for you to naturally get those steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the Oura ring, right? Like if it's, let's say it's showing you that you consistently have poor sleep, you're probably already feeling that, but it's confirming that like, I need to do something about that.
Good point.
So, you don't want to let these things rule what you do in isolation because nothing happens in a vacuum. You want to use them to inform what you probably already know.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk a little bit about like what the research actually says here, because I think that's important. And I actually was not surprised to hear that studies in sports psychology have found that people with high achievement orientation, like the high achievers that we're talking about, the driven, ambitious type, they're more likely to actually experience more stress from using things like fitness trackers because they are internalizing these numbers as performance metrics. So this to me means like you're taking the number in isolation in one day or one period of time and not looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You're missing the forest for the trees. So, you know, like if you don't get your steps in on one day because like, you know, today, probably for my first half of the day, I'm not going to meet my steps.
Totally.
It's information. It's not like, oh, I'm a lazy person who's bad. It's just, if I took that as like, I'm failing because one day I didn't hit my steps, I can see how that would have a negative effect.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that? Have you guys experienced that? Have your clients kind of gone down that route?
100%. I think for me specifically, like I said before, with like closing all the rings and meeting my step goal and getting the monthly goal that, you know, I achieved that. It's so easy, especially coming from like a corporate environment where you're always trying to raise the bar and you never really set like, here's the baseline. I think that can become very dangerous mindset. Like you're always trying to beat something, but like when is good enough good enough?
Yes.
Like sometimes you're already performing at such a high level that it can
be counterproductive.
Yeah, like
totally.
If you're walking 12, 15, 18,000 steps a day, like is 1,000 steps more really going to be the difference maker for you? Like, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a few important like discussion points here, right? It's like, yes, at a certain point, like more is not better. Better is better.
Better is better.
Especially in the context of movement. Like, to be honest, I don't really pay attention to like the rings thing. I never really did. It's more like, what is my actual goal? And like, is this aligning with that? Like, to be honest, like I don't actually care about the number of steps I take. I know that's controversial because I naturally walk a lot. On average, I'm hitting at least 10,000 steps a day, but I often don't look at that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's your standard, right? That's your minimum standard, that it's just a given that's
it's
what's
what
happening
I do
on a day. Yeah.
And you've evolved into that place.
Yeah,
right?
If I walk my kids to and from school and I do walking pad like whenever I can, like that's my standard. And I'm gonna rant for a second when people are like, I hate walking. I'm like, that is what your legs are for. Like you like park further away. Use your legs. Like get some pep in your step, literally. So like if you make that your standard, you're always gonna meet that number. And that's just kind of validating that you're in line with that.
I agree.
But then it's like, why am I trying to, same thing with the stress thing. I know this is a controversial thing, but I'm like, I am not someone who, I think we have superpowers if our mind is buzzing, because it means you have a lot to get out there. Yeah. And I think you need to channel that to the right thing. So I wouldn't want to see, you know, my stress score be like 30 minutes because I'm in bed all day just chilling. Like, it's just not who I am. It's all context, right? So if my health is great, which I know it is, my blood pressure, my blood work, whatever, okay, this is one piece of information. I'm not going to let that rule me. So that's my 2 cents.
I do think it's so interesting though, because these wearable companies have really tapped into something so primal in our brains, like around like the reward pathways. And that can be so motivating, but that can also backfire on a lot of people because of what you're saying, T. Like you've built your life around these broad strokes of movement, of nourishment, of lifting, and you know that there's now enough of that. But most people, like the average person who's wearing wearables, they don't have those big blocks in place.
No.
Or they don't understand their relationship to those big blocks of things. And they just think more is better, or meeting the goal that's been randomly set for them is better. And that gamification is tapping into that, right? And I think that's where it can get a little bit like unhealthy for people. There's definitely a fine line there.
I agree.
Well, that's a good point. I think it's also that like data is only helpful when you know how to interpret the data.
Yes.
Right.
And it's the same way with context.
Yeah.
You can't like cherry pick one thing and be like, I hear this all the time. I'm actually doing fine with my health. I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. Are you lifting weights? No, not really lifting weights, but I'm closing my rings.
Right.
Well,
and if you have a fat loss goal, you're walking 10,000 steps, but you might still be eating in a surplus. And then the steps don't really matter.
Right. Well, it's great, but that's one small piece of a very big puzzle. So if you're fixating only on that, you're missing a lot of the picture here.
Exactly. Right? It's never one thing. It's never one thing, which we talk about a lot. It's how everything comes together.
That's
That's why you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Jord, tell us more about that actually, like how data is just like one tool. It's not something that we should use as a judge.
Yeah, like I think we've started having that conversation around the fact that like metrics need to be looked at as neutrally as possible. And it's like our attachment to them is what becomes unhealthy and perhaps even counterproductive, because if you're tracking data that doesn't correlate back to the actual goal that you have, there's an issue there. Like we need to be tracking the right data for the right goal and having the right threshold to support that goal. That's like the first thing. That's like the big picture thinking. The other thing to remember is like wearables aren't perfect. An estimate, you know, especially like the wrist-based ones, like they can be off anywhere from 10 to 30% when estimating things like calorie burn. And they're even less accurate when they're assessing strength training. And so if we're thinking about that estimate, right, and you don't have like somebody supporting you in the direction of like what to eat and what actual metrics you should be looking at, many women might be adjusting their food intake based off of the calorie burn that they're seeing.
Oh my God.
And they're
and it's
doing
so
themselves
skewed.
exactly the biggest disservice.
Can I rant about that?
Yes, please.
Absolutely insane is like when people look at how many calories they burned in a workout.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the F cares?
Yes.
Let me tell you.
I've been asked that a lot.
So
on
inaccurate.
calls.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Number one, that is very, very, very little. And what your watch is telling you is probably not accurate anyway. But even if it was, that is not what you're there for. And also, like, I lift heavy AF. And, you know, like, my watch has never, fun fact, been like, are you in a workout?
Yes.
That's how, that,
Same.
My watch has never, I probably burn barely any calories. Who the hell cares? Because I'm building muscle that's burning more calories.
Yeah,
you are not there. I don't care how many calories you burn. Like, you know, clients, when they initially come in, and this is something we have to teach them on, they'll be like, oh, this is how many calories I burned during this workout. Like, should I eat more or less? Well, number one, never modify your nutrition based on how many calories you burn.
Absolutely.
That's why you self-navigating on MyFitnessPal, it has that setting where like,
dangerous.
It's like, oh, you worked out, eat more. It's like, no. Or if you did cardio even, which is a whole other thing, because those things are also inaccurate.
Caloric room for you to eat more.
No, you don't adjust the calories based on your activity. You just don't do that. And those things are so inaccurate. The wearables, and I think in the same family, since I don't know if we've talked about this ever, but freaking body fat percentage. That's another one that drives me insane. Highly inaccurate. Don't waste your money. Those scales are absolutely like just even more inaccurate than they're garbage. And please don't be like, oh, I'm 30, 40%. You don't know what you are. Okay. Neither do those scales. So stop focusing on that.
Smash it like I did with the sledgehammer. Go get one and just.
Yes.
The other thing I found is kind of interesting because like the Oura Rings track sleep too. Is there's a term in sleep research called orthosomnia, and it describes people becoming so obsessed with improving their sleep score that the anxiety of improving their sleep score worsens their sleep.
So exactly. It's counterproductive.
It's counterproductive.
Completely.
It's like the thing you're trying to optimize is actually what is now being disrupted. And that can bleed into anything, sleep, your steps, your, you know, how you're eating, what your lifts look like almost any metric that you're tracking, like your blood pressure, like your heart rate, whatever. Right. And so it's like, I don't know, girls, have you ever, like we talked a little bit about recovery scores and stuff, but have you ever woken up feeling fine and then checked your recovery score and then been like, oh, it's low. Yeah, maybe I am tired. Like, has the data ever changed your mind?
For me, not necessarily changed my mind, but it does make me feel like I'm going crazy because I'll feel like both have happened where I've had a great sleep. I feel like I've had a great sleep. I wake up, I'm rested. Then I look at my sleep score and I'm like, oh, it's so low. And then I go, did I have a good sleep? Like what? So it's not that I'm like sold on the fact that it was not a good sleep, but I do question myself. And it's the same the other way where it's like, I've had a terrible sleep. I see my sleep score at like 80 or something. And I'm like, that can't be right.
No,
like, that can't be right. So I have second guessed myself instead of second guessing the stinking ring. That's for sure. How about you, T? Because I know that you look at that too.
I look at it every morning, but I gotta be honest, guys. I'm totally gonna toot my horn here. My recovery and sleep are always optimal, like every single day.
So
but okay, here's the question though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you do. Now listen, we know you, so we know that you are very, very like you have high standards for yourself.
I sleep like a rock.
But do you ever wonder, like,
as
is
someone
that true,
who has slept
though?
next to you, you do
What's that?
sleep like a rock. As someone who has slept next to you, you do sleep like you're like lie down and you're like
a rock.
Boom, out.
But it's right, because it'll say the other day, it said my latency, like how long you take to fall asleep.
Yeah.
It took me forever to fall asleep the other night, and that was true. But no, my scores are always. It's always right. I'm telling you, it's always like fun fact. I looked at mine and I'm like, oh my God, I have crowns. I have crowns like every day since I've had an Oura ring.
You're so funny. See, and then there's my brain who would look at that and be like, how is that possible? There's no way. Like, you know, I would second guess the quality, even though my ring is like, you rock and sleep. So yeah.
Well, I have again, like I go to bed I have no life, guys. I mean, I have a life, but like it's zeroed around recovery and training.
I was gonna say,
and my family.
You have very high standards when it comes to like the quality of life. So I think yours is true, but for me, I definitely am like second guessing myself instead of looking at the ring going, you know.
It knows I'm coming down with something. It does know. That I find really cool. It'll be like,
yes.
I remember when we were in Mexico last year, it was like high strain, like pay attention. And then the next day I ended up getting a really bad cold.
Okay, so I'll tell you. No, I remember seeing people talk about that and I hadn't experienced it yet. But when I got sick last year and I was going through my whole like healing journey, I had my hysterectomy and all of that. It was doing that before things kind of happened. And I was like, whoa, this is wild. This is so wild. So
it tracks your body and it knows.
I forgot about that.
I'm telling you, when I teach karate with the kids, I'll just be demonstrating some movements. It'll be like, you did 30 minutes of martial arts. I'm like, how the heck did you know that? Or it'll be like, you did Pilates.
Really?
It knows. Or when I kick a soccer ball with my kids, it's like, you played soccer for 30 minutes.
Stop, really?
I'm serious. It is so smart.
I guess I just don't do enough varied activity.
So I know how they do this. When they program the watches, they have put like sensors all over the bodies for every different type of sport. So then it triggers the movements happening around the arm
or
the wrist or the ring, and then it can infer, it's most likely this. Based
how did you know that?
I researched.
I was going to say
You're like, I came prepared.
She's an investigator.
I'm ready to cover this topic.
She is teaching us. I'm impressed. It's like a video game when you make
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
it's like how they made Avatar the movie. Like how they had those sensors all over them and then they can make them big or small or whatever.
Wow. You learn something new every day. Listen to that, everyone. Yeah.
And if you're sitting here realizing, wait a second, I have been letting my watch dictate a lot of my decisions instead of using it as feedback or as an opportunity to paint a bigger picture for yourself. You've been hearing like you're not the only one. Like we've had several experiences that span, positive to less positive. And so many of our clients are high achieving, data-driven women who also love metrics, but they've lost touch with their intuition in the process. We need to bring that back into the equation. So if you want help learning how to use your data intelligently without letting it control you, like actually building the skills to listen to your body while still tracking progress, the good news is that we have some applications open at getsculpted.ca/contact. We'll teach you how to use the numbers as tools, not judges. And so I invite you to fill that in and let us help you find that balance. So, Mare, I'd love for you to just walk us through like the psychological element of overtracking. Like,
yes.
Let's get into that.
You actually brought this up and I'm so glad you did because this reminds me so much of this like age-old conversation we have about like the power of the scale, right? The power that number on the scale has had for women for so long. And I do think it's the same with wearables sometimes. When we're starting to tie our worth to the numbers that we see, that is a problem. That really is a problem. And for so many women, we've seen it where their entire mood can change based on the numbers that they see, right? So things like, they'll look at their step count or how many calories they've burned. We talked about that. They could be having a completely fine day and then they look at their watch, their ring or whatever. And then it's like the mood drops and it's like, oh my God, like, what do you mean I only burned that many calories or I only took that many steps or whatever it is? So I think that's problematic, right?
Mm-hmm.
T, were you going to say something?
I was just thinking in my head, the wheels are turning. I'm like, does Oura Ring tell you how many calories you burn? And then I was like, it does, but I never pay attention to it.
I've never paid attention to that either.
I'm like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's possible because it'll be like saying I burned more than I ate that day. And I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And this is the other thing too, is like we see women feel guilty. So like we know, for example, rest and recovery, incredibly important, especially if you're working hard, you're getting your movement, all of those things. It's critical. Like you absolutely need it. But for some women, and I have actually had clients say this to me where they see their stats on a rest day and then they're like, well, should I be doing more? Should I add a workout that day? Should I do? And I'm like, no, you should not. So there's that piece of, right. We always come back to like what you're doing. Is it productive or is it completely counterproductive? So that can be really bad because then they are completely, like infringing on their rest and recovery just because they want their numbers to their data to be higher or whatever it is. So that's not great. And then this I saw more when the shift to the Apple Watch came, but it was like the comparing data. So again, I didn't have one, but I would see people, because I guess, and I'm going to sound like such a dodo because I don't know, but you could like see each other's rings,
compare.
right?
So you can you can create like a group, and you can then compare data and create challenges in your group. I never did that because I was like, I have enough problem comparing to myself. I don't want to compare to anybody else.
Yes. I didn't know that's the thing. That's in Apple, you could do that?
Yeah. Like, so that's the thing. I was seeing like, and at this point I was teaching still. So I was seeing women, taught mostly with women, but comparing data. So again, that's a cool thing if it's something that keeps you accountable and it's keeping you like in the swing of things. But the problem is like you get into this place of comparing and then you feel badly when your whatever rings are not closed like your friends or whatever. So again, like, could it be good? Yes, but it can also be really, really deflating, right? And this is where it's really interesting because there is research in behavioral psychology that shows that if there's an over reliance on external metrics, you actually reduce the intrinsic motivation. So what that means is if everything you're doing is measured externally, you slowly lose the ability to listen to your internal self, right? So that means you stop trusting your body, like the watch, the ring or whatever. That's the authority now. You kind of completely second guess what you're feeling. And the more you do that, like repeatedly, the less you feel in tune with yourself. And this is like in the work we do and Get Sculpted, one of the big things we do is actually help women get back in tune with their bodies and, build that relationship after so many years of restricting and completely ignoring their own signals, right? So if the wearable is doing opposite of that, then it has stopped being a tool and it has become something that is just pulling you away from yourself. You're way further away from who you are. So here's a question for you girls though. So we all have wearables. If your watch, your ring, whatever went like kaput and it just like stopped working, thinking of your routine, would it fall apart or would you have that standard set that you'd be able to continue?
So this is actually an interesting question because not that long ago, can't remember what I was watching, but I saw like, when you're on house arrest and you have like an ankle, not that any of us would know.
Yeah.
But like,
oh yeah, we've all been there.
Oh yeah. But you see on
TV.
We
have not. Please, in the show notes, we have not had that happen. But anyway.
Maybe broken a law. Maybe sped. That's about it.
I've been on house arrest willingly. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, willingly. But in like TV shows, you like whoever is on house arrest will have like an ankle bracelet.
Yeah.
I have had the thought of like, when I get up, I have this routine. I take my medicine in the morning. I like literally feet get out of bed. I drink water. I take my medicine and I put my watch on. And I'm like, it kind of, after a little while, felt like the house arrest anklet. And I was like, am I a prisoner to this thing?
Interesting.
Like, and so after I had that thought, I actually stopped wearing it for a week. Just to see.
And how did that go?
First of all, I kept checking my phone for what time it was, and that was very annoying. But aside from that, I felt amazing. I was I was like, I still do all the things that I did before. Exactly. And it made me wonder, like, did the watch help reinforce it? Or was it just that I've been doing it for so long that was just already who I am?
Yes.
And it's, again, I can't answer that question because I've been wearing it for so long, but my routine did not fall apart. And so now there's days where I actually just don't wear it just for fun, just to be like on a Sunday, I try not to be like plugged into anything digital or online or whatever.
Right.
And I'll just like put it on that day and I'm like, I feel great. So like, I do all the stuff that we're talking about the psychology and like the data that's coming out about it. Like I really do feel that dichotomy of like feeling a little freer without wearing it, but did feel strange at first.
Yeah. What about you, T?
I will say that one thing is it shouldn't dictate how you show up either way. That's one thing I want to add. So like,
good point.
If it's, for example, if Oura Ring all the time will be like, take it easy. I'm like, I'll be the judge of that because I think a lot of people use that as, honestly, I'm just gonna be totally honest, that they use it as an excuse. They're like, you need to follow your plan and not your mood, and not even your wearable, to be honest. Like that's not going to tell you, you need to learn to become more intuitive, like you said. So I just wanted to say that piece. But I love it. I think that I love it so much, same as like the scale and weighing food and all that, because I value it so much and I see the value of consistent data. So like even with my almost 10-year-old son has an Apple Watch now, and it's like the version where like he can only message his contacts, which is just us.
Yeah.
And then, he even will be like, oh, how many steps did I take today?
Yeah.
But he did that on his own, and he doesn't check it obsessively and try and hit a number. But I'm like, this is good information, right? Like it was, how many steps is he averaging? Like Is he staying active? Like I wasn't with him at school. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. No, I think the big distinguisher here is like fact and feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
like you said,
absolutely.
If you're using it to reinforce the things that you're already doing and you're using it as like interesting data or just feedback, like, oh, let it inform what I do next. But you're right. If it's the only thing that's pushing you to live a lifestyle, then your life would fall apart if you didn't have it because you haven't built anything. Like, again, the intrinsic part, like there's nothing in you that makes this part of your standard and your identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, George, I think it was you who brought it up, or maybe T. Anyway, the streaks, right? Like, because that was the other thing too. I know with the Aura Ring, you said the crowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even the app that we use with our clients, like it'll give them, you know, like I think it goes gold or
like
something if you
personal
hit your
best.
nutrition or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're talking to, you know, these like ambitious type A ladies, streaks are fun. Like you get to see proof that you're making progress, but this is what we're talking about. Like that's not what's actually building longevity, right? Because life's going to happen. So that's the other thing we have to remember is like, even in a perfect situation where we're hitting our numbers, you're going to get sick. The kids are going to get sick. Your workout's not going to happen. Your sleep might be crappy one night, your partner snoring, whatever. But if your entire routine is going to collapse the moment like a streak breaks or you don't see the data you want, then that's where I really believe like you haven't built consistency. You are completely reliant on that external wearable, and that can really make things go sideways. Because I've seen women who that happens to them where their data is consistently crappy. And instead of saying, okay, like deep breath, let me regroup, what do I do next? They're just like, well, then what's the point? Right? It can go the other way. So, you know, we talk about that, like using wearables as feedback or identity. Like, what do you girls think? Like, you know, what would it look like to just use it as feedback and not identity? Because I think that that's how we use it.
Yeah.
I think
that's what I'm leaning.
You know?
I don't think you need to get rid of them. I just think you need to reframe how you see them.
Yeah, I would agree. And actually interesting enough that you brought up our app, because I was having a conversation with one of my clients and she was like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed by how many notifications I'm getting of stuff to do. And so I'm like, okay, let's take a look at this. Because, you know, like we have like your water goal, your step goal, the workouts, like certain things that we've set up initially to be the habits that we build. But over time, do you need that many? Like where have you now outgrown the notification, right?
That's a good point.
So we had a really good conversation and we used the data to inform what we could then remove from tracking. And so we talked about like, okay, let's look at the data, because I had all the data in the insights of like how many steps she's taken every single day. That data was already being pulled through. And so I said, why do we need a reminder plus the steps that you're already doing? Like I'll see if it dips and you'll tell me in a check-in. Yeah. And so she was consistently hitting almost 2,000 steps more than the goal. So I'm let's remove the reminder, because what are you doing in your day to make this a habit already? And she's like, well, every day I go for a walk during lunch. And every day we do a family walk after dinner, and they're both about half an hour. I'm like, then this is a no-brainer. So we already know if you miss one of those walks, you're not going to hit your steps that day. But in the grand scheme, you're walking more than what we initially set. So we removed that one. We also removed the water one because of how she drinks her water. So it's like, where do you remove things? Because now she has the intrinsic trust in herself.
There you
of
go.
Like, this is now who I am.
Yeah. And it's part of her every day. Yeah.
I've never tracked my water ever. Like when coaches were like, how much water do you drink? I'm like, I swear I hit it. I know I do.
Well,
because
but you know what though? Like, again, I feel like this is where we are now, right? Like I know I hit it too. Like I don't track my water either, but I also know that we all have our emotional support water bottles with us at all times.
It's the habit, right?
This is what I'm saying. So like maybe at the beginning, this is what someone needs. But the goal, this is, I think, really like the crux of it is like, this is helpful maybe at the beginning when you're starting a journey, when you're building habits. You still have to separate fact from feeling, but then it should, like if you're using wearables right, or if you're using trackers right, it gets to the point where you're still doing the thing, whether you have the tracker or not, you're still doing the thing, whether like it breaks, it doesn't. And you can look at that data very neutrally, right?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you are looking at that and it is like the make or break of your day and you're not going to do the things if you don't have that, then I'm going to say point blank, you do not have the right relationship with your wearable. You do not. Full stop.
Yeah.
So, agree.
It's unique for everyone.
And so do you girls think, like, just round up the episode overall, do you think wearables are helpful or harmful?
I feel like I always go neutral on these questions.
But it depends who uses them.
Pick a side,
No. I really think it, like I just said, it depends on your relationship. It is helpful if it informs your decision, but as soon as it takes over your, like, you feel like a failure, and like I already said, then I'm sorry, no, it's harmful. So I think everyone has to evaluate their relationship with their wearable. If it's neutral, you're gold. If it's not, then you really have to think about if it's really the best thing for you right now. I think it's harmful. So I'm staying neutral.
Would you add anything?
I would definitely say like I'm leaning into helpful. Maybe I'm partly biased because of myself, but it only becomes harmful when someone makes it that way by the way they're interpreting the data.
So I think it's a good reflection piece, right?
Let's use these tools. Like we live in a day and age when we are able to like literally adjust our habits and body composition based on this amazing data. Use it the right way.
Yep. I love that. Well said. Yep. So here's what we believe overall. Data is a tool. It is not meant to turn into a dictator. Your watch cannot measure your discipline, your resilience, or really your long-term consistency and how those show up in translation to your overall goals. And if you are constantly overriding your body because of a number, that isn't actually optimization. It's a disconnection between you and your body. And you might want to rethink your relationship with your wearable, just like Mar said. And ask yourself, are you building the strength or are you just building streaks? Like, this is something that we really want you to take away and have some internal reflection after this episode. And if you're an ambitious and love data, we're not asking you to throw it all away. We're asking you to use it intelligently. And that's where we come in. We help you build a positive relationship with metrics that inform your decisions without hijacking your intuition or making rest feel like a failure either. So if you're ready to stop letting your wearable dictate your worth or start using data to actually optimize your training, we have a few spots opening up on our roster. We invite you to fill out an application at getsculpted.ca/contact, and let's help you build the strength and resiliency that you need and want and deserve. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend who maybe paces their house at 9:58 p.m. to close the rings. And we'll see you next week where we ask the question, if you woke up in your dream body, would you be able to keep it? It's
Good
going to be a
one
good
coming.
one. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.